Okay, let's talk about revisions for a second. This is a question I always get. People get a little confused as how they work. So I'm just going to show you how to show revisions, especially when you're trying to show them on multiple sheets. And what I'm going to do really quick is I'm just going to add a couple sheets into my project. Kind of don't matter. I'm just making sure I have more than one in here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put a revision on a drawing. First thing I want to make sure I do, I'm going to move over onto these sheets that I just made. I'm going to move over some plans onto them so that we understand how this shows. So I'm going to wait and pull this one over here real quick. A little bit big for this sheet. That's okay. That's okay. And I'm going to actually reduce this in size really fast. Bear with me a second here, and it's got the topo showing, but you know, this is just a good start. Just trying to demonstrate something really quick. I can clean these sheets up later. Put on here. This one over as well. Okay, so I've got my drawings on my sheet. Now, I'm going to go actually into one of these drawings. So I'm going to go into the first floor, and I want to show some revisions on this drawing. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go to Manage. Inside of Manage, there is, if you go underneath Additional Settings, I'm just going to click the drop down underneath Additional Settings, and I'm going to click on Sheet Issues and Revisions. As of right now, there's none out there. There's one that's started, but it's not, this is default. It's not necessarily there. Two things to pay attention to when it comes to numbering. Right now, it says per project. You can also set it up per sheet. Most of the time, when you are doing revisions, especially if you're doing any type of permit sets or anything like that, these are per project revisions. So I'm just going to leave it at that. The other thing I'm going to do is, it says right now how you want to show it, and there's if you click on show here and click the drop down here, we have options of none, tag, or cloud and tag. In this particular case, I want to actually draw attention to these revisions so someone can look for the cloud so you can see the actual revision. So I'm going to keep it as cloud and tag. The other thing I'm going to do is, excuse me, I'm going to actually number it and date it and so on and so forth. A lot of times the date is usually the issue date. So I'm just going to say that the issue date is set for today. And the revision, I can leave it as revision 1, or I can say permit response, something like that. I can name this revision whatever I want. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a revision. It could be just another issue. And a lot of times if you're doing just a separate issue, you just make sure you take the cloud and tag off and just tell it none. So I'm going to tell this okay. And now I'm going to go into Annotate, and I'm going to actually go to Revision, which is right above Detail. So I'm going to click on Revision Cloud, and I'm going to do just that. Now, there's several ways you could draw a revision cloud. You could do it arc by arc, or you could do a rectangle. A lot of people will do a rectangle because fastest way to do it. So let's just say maybe there's a revision here where at some point, I don't know, there was a change to this door. So I've started with my rectangle command, and I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to click. There's my rectangle command. I put it in there just so you know, if I did it with the line, I'm going to click and do the line tool, and I'm going to do it right next to it so you can see the difference here. You can actually adjust the size of the cloud as well. So there's many different ways to do revision clouds. Some people like a nice tighter cloud. You're not going to get that even cloud like you do in some of these other programs. It is what it is, but it's still there. You can also adjust this one as well, where you can take this off and then add in another size to it if you're like, oh, this didn't quite get everything that I wanted in the drawing, so on and so forth. So just keep that in mind. You're not stuck to one type of revision cloud versus another. But what I am doing right now is I am going to delete one of them out because you can't have two of them in there. it'll, even if I come over here to my properties box, will ask me, well, which revision is it? Right now, I only have one revision in there. It's the one I just put in. It's just my sequence 1 permit response. If I had put in several revisions, and you say maybe you had a set that was going out to one client for this, but then you also had another set that was going right back out right afterwards to maybe a millwork or something to get started on doing some of the casework or custom millwork drawings or pieces, and you had maybe had something else going out to maybe a wall, a metal wall manufacturer for some, the several different reasons that you could be doing these things. You could have them all listed in there, but you may only have one sheet that's going here, one sheet that's going there, so on and so forth. So here, so it's actually pretty great. So what you essentially do is, after you get done telling it, giving it the shape of the revision, I'm going to go ahead and click the check mark. And then from here, I'm going to actually go back to annotate, and I'm going to tell it to tag by category. And it's just that it'll recognize that this is a revision, and then you would tell me, hey, well, you don't really have any of those pulled in. That's okay. I'm going to tell it, yes, please pull one in. When we go to pull it in, it's underneath the annotations, and then it is underneath that first folder there, so you don't go into anything else, and it's underneath, where'd you go? Revision tag here. No, wrong one. Revision tag there. You can just tell it open. And it's now loading it in. I have it right now set where there's a leader that is attached. When I go to tag this, the leader's going to get added to it. Right now it's set to attached in, so I'm going to go ahead and click this leader. You'll notice it already recognizes it as number 1. It automatically gives me an elbow. I can choose to modify that elbow, have a different look to it. And it's just that simple. There it is. You can, like I said, if you maybe have another revision that you're going to put in there, you can actually click on this cloud after the fact, come over here to the properties box and select that other revision that's in there. You're not necessarily set on the one that it already was on. Now here's the biggest difference. Here's where this all matters. I put this in on my first floor drawing. I put my first floor drawing in on my, excuse me, my sheet A103. I'm just going to just name this real quick so I know which one this is. Let's say first floor. Actually, it's the plan. From here, here's where this is important. This is essentially, if you're using just the standard default title block that comes in Revit, this is a revision title block right here. You'll notice it even says here, permit response 1/24/2009, so on and so forth. It's there. You can actually take this off. You can actually click on this title block. Excuse me, not the title block itself, inside of the sheet. So hit escape so you don't have the title block selected. You come over here to the properties box now that you're inside of the sheet itself, and you come down to the bottom that says revisions on sheet. And I can actually expand this a little bit more so you can see a little bit more of what that says. I can click on edit, and I can tell it, well, this revision is here, but I don't necessarily want to show it right now because it's the only revision. I have no other choice. If I were to go back and I'm able to add in a couple more revisions here, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to manage, additional settings, sheet issues, revisions, and I'm going to say add. And I'm just going to essentially, I'm going to call this one, maybe you had 2 different sets, like I said, two different sets going out. Maybe this one is just going to the millwork. Just say millwork package so that they could get started. But maybe this one is not clouded and tagged, so we tell this none. I could decide, okay, well, I'm using this same revision though for both of these, or this same sheet for both of these revisions, so I really want it to show, although this other one's not tagged. I've gone back over here to the properties box for my sheet itself, and I've clicked on this, and it says show and revision schedule. Yes, I want this one to show too as well, because that's some drawings that I want them to see, so on and so forth. So now both of these revisions are showing up. The main reason why this one is showing up is because the cloud's on this sheet. If I didn't have the cloud on this sheet, then this would not have shown up over here inside of my revision schedule. So I hope that makes sense to people, because I get this question all the time. Well, I can't see my numbers. I put the revision number in, I put the clouds in, but I can't see the revision. 9 times out of 10, it's something going on with your additional settings, your sheet issue revisions, and there's something happening here where maybe this isn't set. Maybe there's a none here. Maybe this says cloud and tech. Check that first. The other thing you also want to keep in mind is don't hit issued yet until it's actually out the door and you're not working on the revision anymore. If you hit issued, you no longer have the chance to put anything on that revision again. Okay, it then becomes a whole nother revision if you have to do something again. And so people make that common mistake. Well, I was still working on the revision. Well, okay, then it was never issued. Okay, so you just have to keep that in mind. So I'm just going to uncheck it right now. You even notice it grayed out when I did that. So I'm going to tell this okay, and it works just like that. If you have any more questions or if you're still confused, please definitely let me know. You can either hit me up here in the comments section below. You can send me an email. My email address is brightideas, BRIGHTEYEDIAS@gmail.com. You're also more than welcome to look me up on Facebook, send me questions that way. I respond either way you want. Thank you.